At my father's will reading, my cousin Lucas laughed and said, "I took the money and spent it already, so good luck." The lawyer quietly smiled and slid a folder across the table. "Actually, you might want to read this first." Lucas's smirk vanished as he turned the first page. I knew something was off the second I walked into the law office. The air felt heavy, like a storm was about to hit. I sat down at the long mahogany table, my hands clenched in my lap. My father's will was about to be read, and while I wasn't expecting much, our relationship had been complicated, I was there out of respect. Across from me, Lucas lounged in his chair like he had just won the lottery, wearing an expensive watch, a tailored suit, and polished shoes. That was my first clue. Lucas had never had money before. The lawyer, Mr. Carter, cleared his throat. "Thank you for coming. As you know, Mr. Sinclair's passing has left his estate to be distributed according to his wishes. Before we begin, are there any questions?" I stayed silent. Lucas smirked. "Nah, no questions. Let's just get on with it." Something was wrong. Mr. Carter shuffled some papers and began reading. My father had left a significant amount of money, properties, and assets to be divided between me and Lucas. But as he continued, I noticed something strange. Lucas was grinning. Then came the bombshell. The inheritance, which was held in trust, had already been distributed to Lucas 6 months before my father's passing, per his request. My stomach dropped. Lucas burst out laughing. "Oh man, I was wondering when you'd hear about that." He wiped a fake tear from his eye. "Yeah, I already got the money and spent it, so good luck getting anything." I just stared at him, my blood running ice cold. Mr. Carter, however, was unfazed. If anything, he looked amused. That's when he did something I'll never forget. He reached into his briefcase, pulled out a folder, and slid it across the table toward Lucas. "Actually," he said calmly, "you might want to read this first." Lucas's smirk disappeared as he flipped open the folder and scanned the first page. His face drained of color. What is this?" he stammered. Mr. Carter simply adjusted his glasses. "That, Mr. Lucas, is what we in the legal profession call a trap." I had no idea what was going on, but I loved seeing Lucas's smug face crumble. He flipped page after page, his hands starting to shake. This isn't real. It can't be." "Oh, it's very real," Mr. Carter said, leaning back in his chair. "You see, Mr. Sinclair was no fool. He suspected you were trying to manipulate him, so he did something very clever." I leaned in. "What are you talking about?" Mr. Carter turned to me, a small smile on his face. "Your father knew Lucas was planning to get to his money early, so he set up a dummy inheritance, a false trust with conditions that Lucas never bothered to read. That trust wasn't part of his actual will. It was a test." I blinked. "A test?" Lucas was shaking now. "This is bullshit." Mr. Carter ignored him. "Yes, your father wanted to see if Lucas would try to take the money prematurely. If he did, it would trigger a clause disinheriting him from the real estate and assets." A slow, cold smile crept across my face. "So you're saying the money he took wasn't even the real inheritance?" Mr. Carter nodded. Lucas shot up from his chair, fists clenched. "You're lying. I spent it all. The houses, the cars. I invested it. You can't just..." Mr. Carter calmly slid another document across the table. "Actually, we can. That's a court order freezing all remaining assets linked to the stolen trust." Lucas went silent. Then he screamed. I had never seen a grown man fall apart so quickly. Lucas started pacing, running his hands through his hair. "This isn't happening. This isn't happening." Mr. Carter sighed. "Oh, it's happening, and it gets worse." Lucas snapped his head up. "Worse?" Mr. Carter flipped to the next page and tapped it with his pen. "Your father anticipated you'd blow through the money, so he left instructions. You are now legally responsible for repaying every cent you took." Lucas collapsed back into his chair, breathing heavily. I can't. There's nothing left." "That's unfortunate," Mr. Carter said with zero sympathy, "because the law firm is prepared to pursue this matter in full. Your father made sure of it." Lucas's jaw clenched. You can't get blood from a stone." Mr. Carter raised an eyebrow. "You can if the stone committed fraud." I could barely contain myself. My father had set him up beautifully. Lucas had tricked my father into giving him the money early, only to find out it was a test, and now he owed every penny back. I didn't even have to do anything. He played himself. Lucas's breathing turned ragged. I have a house, a car," but Mr. Carter held up a hand. "Not anymore." Lucas froze. Mr. Carter gave a tight-lipped smile. "All assets purchased with that money will be liquidated to cover the..."